Hey guys, it is episode number 14 of Daily Thoughts with David Coleman, and I have to admit I had a really tough early part of this week. I kind of gotten past the toughest parts of this week, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday were extremely difficult for me. In fact, I didn't even come into work on Tuesday and Wednesday. There's some stuff that I'll probably discuss on a later video about some of the things that we do here at the shop and our shop in general. That we're dealing with right now that I needed to focus on and take care of, that I'm not totally prepared to deal with or talk about yet. But I do want to talk about a couple things today. I'm back today. I'll be back tomorrow and do a couple videos, and I may do a video or two over the weekend to make up for it. So I apologize for not being here. Today we're going to talk about, 4 or 5 topics. One of them being The Chosen. Many of you may watch The Chosen out there if you're a conservative Christian type. The season 3 episode number 7 and 8 both came out earlier this week. One on Sunday, and the episode number 8 came out on Tuesday. Fantastic. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the earthquake in Syria and Turkey, which has done some really crazy things. We're going to talk about the Chinese spy balloon. I'm a little bit behind on that topic, I know for sure, so I apologize for being behind on getting on that. But we'll talk a little bit about that too. The employment numbers came out. Some of the labor department numbers came out, which I thought were pretty funny. I think some of the numbers are a little bit skewed. And then we're going to talk about the WHO, World Health Organization, now talking about the H5N1 Avian Flu outbreaks that they're going to be pushing towards everybody. So let's hop right into it. Let's go right into The Chosen. I was not a big Chosen watcher. Actually, I had never heard of the show until my mother told me about it. And I watched season 1 through 3 pretty quickly, season 1 through 2 pretty quickly before season 3 came out. I've watched all the episodes. If you have not, go to the Angel app, or Angel Studios is who creates it. Go watch all of them right now. If you're a Christian or if you are just curious about religious topics in general and Christianity in general, they are fantastic. Season 3, episode number 7 and 8 are very interesting. I was not that big of a fan of episode number 7. Many of you may know of the story of Simon Peter, who became Peter later on. His name is Simon to begin with. In The Chosen, it is depicted that Simon and his wife are having a child, and the child, his wife Eden, loses the baby, and Christ doesn't really. Obviously, Christ healed a lot of people throughout his time on earth. And one of the things that Simon struggles with is his inability to cope with the fact that he lost a child. And Jesus Christ didn't help him and his wife in order to heal this child in order to have a kid. And he's very angry and hurt at Jesus because he didn't help. He didn't help Eden. He didn't help his child get born and make it all the way through. And that's something that Simon struggles with for, I think, 3-4 episodes during this season. And I've felt that way a lot frequently. I've made a new path towards Christianity, and through Christ and through my faith, I've been able to get through a lot of very tough things here in the past, I would say, year. I think, sometimes I get very frustrated with God because I feel like I am closer to God than, closer to Christ than, anyone that I grew up with. And a lot of my friends are not religious at all. And sometimes I feel very frustrated with Christ because I feel like I'm a follower of his, and I would say I'm a Christian, and I believe in him, and I have faith in him. But I wish he would give me less struggles, and I wish he would help me more. Though Christ's not going to come down and make everything better and do everything for me. But it would be nice to have some easier times ahead. That would be really nice. And sometimes I get frustrated with him and say, God, why are all of my friends, why are all the people around me in my generation? It all seems like they're just having a great old time and no cares in the world, and and they just get to do whatever they want, and it seems to succeed. And that's also a part of the lens in which I look through my life at other people, especially social media, which is almost entirely positive and doesn't show the struggles of life or the darknesses of life. But also sometimes I think I have to remember, and I've had my mother and my father and a lot of other people in my life who are Christians have reminded me, Jesus Christ does not guarantee, and our God does not guarantee that things are going to be easy just because you follow Him. There's still going to be suffering and death and terrible things that are going to happen in the world, regardless of who you believe in and what happens. But it's through Him and through His Word and through His teachings that allow us to get through that and to feel strengthened by Him and to be able to get through those without giving up and becoming bitter or vengeful towards people. That's definitely true, and I have to keep reminding myself of that. But at the same time, there's still that underlying feeling of maybe resentment towards Christ and towards Christianity at sometimes where I wish things were easier for me. Anyway, so episode 7 was more about Simon Peter and his struggle with that, and his wife Eden's struggle with that. And then episode number 8 is where Christ speaks to the 5,000 people on top of the mount, and he preaches to these 5,000 people, and they want to eat because they're hungry. They've come from all over. This is in the land of the Gentiles, and they want to eat because they haven't eaten pretty much anything for 2 or 3 days. And this boy has loaves of bread and 2 fish, and Christ multiplies the scraps and is able to feed the 5,000. It's actually more than 5,000. And through their faith in Him and the disciples' faith in Him, they're able to feed all these people who have been hungry for His Word and hungry for food. And then Christ sends them across the Sea of Galilee again to go back over to their hometown. When they are sent over in the boat, the water becomes stormy, and there's a thunderstorm and a really horrible storm that comes through, and Christ walks on water in order to save them. And Simon Peter gets out of the boat, and his faith is shaken, and says, "Lord, if you really are the Lord, tell me to get out of the boat and to come to you while you're on the water." And he does. But as soon as he takes his eyes off Christ, he falls into the water. When he's scared of the wind and the waters that are coming around, he falls into the water. And sometimes I feel like that when I take my eyes off of God, when I take my eyes off of the Lord and Christianity and my beliefs, I start to falter. And I need to keep my focus on the Lord and on Christ, and that has helped me through a lot of different difficult situations, especially of recently. But it's a very, very touching moment. I'll admit I teared up quite a few times because I felt very attached to Simon Peter as a character, and that my faith in the Lord, though it may be shaken, I have to remind myself of all the great things that He has done for the Israelites, for my people, just Americans in general, for my family, for my business, for my life, me, David, and for everything around me. So, things may be difficult, but you have to remember that, the Lord has done a lot for all of us in order to get where we are. So that was extremely touching. If you haven't already, go see The Chosen, Season 3, Episode number 7 and 8. Actually see all 3 seasons all the way through. They're fantastic. So, okay, let's talk about something a little bit more sad. Turkey and Syria went through a very, very severe 7.8, I believe, 7.8, 7.9 magnitude earthquake that completely just leveled their countries. From the last count, I think we're over 20,000 dead, and I would assume that that's going to continue to rise. And Syria, obviously, and Turkey in some regards are not are modern countries in a certain way, but not the West. They're not rich like Great Britain or Germany or the U.S. or Canada. And a lot of these people don't have the same resources that we do. And I've seen a lot of videos online on social media of buildings just collapsing, and they're still looking for people under the rubble. And it's just an absolute horror scene of unimaginable destruction. And all I can do is pray for those people and hope that they're going to be okay. A lot of them are not going to be okay. A lot of them are passed on, and it's an absolute tragedy. But I'm thinking about that. I'm praying for them. I know that the U.S. is sending $85 million over in aid, and I have a very complicated feeling about sending aid and money over to countries right now, especially with the Ukrainian situation. And I'm not sure how to feel about that. I know that we need to help these people, but in my opinion, I think charity from people as a personal gift is the best way to do that, and not through government spending that's going to be wasted on government officials and the like. So that's my personal beliefs on giving to charities or charitable programs like this. I don't think it's the government's job in order to give aid to these people. I don't think that's what we need to be doing. But there's a lot of churches and a lot of even I'm big into cryptocurrencies. There's a lot of cryptocurrency organizations that are giving to the Turkey and Syria situation. And I don't want to say anything else. There's not really much to say except it's an absolute tragedy, and I'm going to be praying for those people, and I hope we can save as many of them as we possibly can. Okay, Chinese spy balloon. This is an interesting topic because the from what I understand, they had detected this Chinese spy balloon multiple days, if not weeks, before it was actually announced to the public and found to be a thing. And also on top of that, I've come to learn now that there have been multiple Chinese spy balloons that have passed over the U.S. in different capacities and other countries. This should have been shot down from the beginning. I understand that there was a ton of speculation on if it was going to hit civilians and all kinds of different things. I don't think there really is an excuse to let the Chinese fly a spy balloon over our country, especially the northern part of our country, the middle north country part of our country, where a lot of our strategic missile command is, and NORAD, and a lot of those places up there that should not probably be seen by one of our biggest, if not our biggest, economic and military rivals. And I'm not going to speculate that Joe Biden is in leagues with the Chinese, although I think he is receiving money from them through the Chinese, or through the Biden crime family. But I do think that this should have been handled much differently and much quicker. They did shoot it down finally over the ocean. I hope they are able to recover things. I hope they're able to learn things. I hope they're able to reverse engineer, and I hope there's retaliation from us to them. I know the Chinese have been saying, "No, you need to give us our balloon back, and it was bad for you. You shouldn't have done that. You should not have shut down our balloon." Go shove it up your, you know what. You shouldn't be flying spy balloons over our country. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. If we're these countries that were supposed to be on good terms, and I know Blinken was supposed to go over there in order to have a couple talks with him. No, we cannot allow foreign countries like this in order to spy on us like this. End of story, period. It's ridiculous that this happened. There should be retaliation from the United States of America, a show of force at least, to say, do not do this again. If you try this again, there will be serious and real consequences. Don't do it again, period. End of story. And this is actually what you're going to receive. And because you did this, because you tried to trample on us and our defenses, eat a penis. Anyway, 3.4% unemployment from the Labor Department. Baloney. Bull shiitake mushroom. That's all I can say. No effing way. I run a business. I've ran a business now for 6-7 years. There are people out there that are desperate for jobs right now. They're absolutely desperate, that have used up all their unemployment insurance, that don't have anything left to go on, that are looking for jobs all over the place. There are help wanted signs all over the freaking place. The labor market is absolutely and 100% broken right now. It's been destroyed. And the 3.4% unemployment rate, we are not at maximum employment whatsoever. There are 7 million American men right now that are out of work. There's no way we're at 3.4% employment. So I don't know what metrics they're using. I don't know where they're measuring this from. I don't know who they're polling. I don't know what they're doing. 3.4% employment is probably less than half of what it is. No way. No way. Absolutely no way. Absolutely no way. And especially with the inflated labor rates that are happening right now also, and inflation, there's no way. And I think what's going to happen here is as a lot of these statistics continue to move on, we get further into 2023, we see more layoffs. There was another set of giant layoffs coming here in the past couple weeks of big ass companies, including Walt Disney laying off another 7,000 people, of people getting laid off in the thousands, in all kinds of thousands of people from these giant tech companies and entertainment companies and manufacturing companies. No way. 3.4% unemployment. No effing way, people. There's no way. There's no way. So eventually the numbers are going to have to catch up with people, or people are going to stop trusting the unemployment numbers, where it's just like, this is not real. But the problem is the Fed is basing their interest rate hikes off of these unemployment numbers, and they're saying that we need to see more unemployment in order for us to stop the rate hikes. Because the Fed, the Federal Reserve, still thinks that the economy is extremely strong because they're seeing these low unemployment rates, which means these businesses are doing really well and everyone's able to pay their workers just fine. And we need to crush spending, and we need to crush the employed so we can see more unemployment so that we can have more people out of jobs. But we can't do that if we're lying to the Federal Reserve and everybody else about what the actual unemployment rate is. It's absurd. So this is all going to come crashing down. When the real numbers are starting to get posted, this will become a serious problem. And we're going to have, I would guess, double-digit unemployment, if not more, when it actually starts falling apart. And then we're going to have a real serious problem getting people back in jobs, because there's not going to be enough money out there, because the money supply is going to be so constricted by the Federal Reserve that we're not even going to be able to hire people. So, no way. 3.4% unemployment, no way. Absolutely no way. Last topic. As you guys have probably seen on my Instagram, if you have not followed me on Instagram, please go do so. It is at David Coleman YT for YouTube, at David Coleman YT. I've been posting a lot about my chickens here recently. I just moved them into a new, bigger pen. The H5N1 Avian Flu outbreak that's supposed to be happening, that's been announced by the World Health Organization, I haven't heard of it. I've heard of, obviously, H1N1. That was a couple years ago. But the H5N1 Avian Flu, I think, is another COVID. It's another not made up. I'm sure it's real. Okay, but the severity, and it's not even COVID. It's probably a monkeypox kind of situation. The severity of this is not going to be anywhere near what they're going to be claiming. It's going to be another overinflated, overprotected against, overregulated, overblown crisis, public health crisis that the governments will use in order to crack down on people and what they're able to do with their lives. And this is going to be about being able to control your food supply. You won't be able to buy chickens, and I have a story about that in a couple minutes. You won't be able to buy chickens. You won't be able to buy eggs. You'll have to be a part of databases in order to raise them. You'll have to be because I'm just going to tell you guys now, chickens are the easiest and best way to get your food supply under control to where you can control it, okay? Because they create great protein in eggs. I mean, our chickens lay, I would say, an egg every 1 to 2 days on average, okay? We have 17 chickens right now. And so when the rest of them are grown up, we'll have a dozen eggs that we get every single day. And yes, eggs get boring, but eggs are in everything. You can make pasta out of them. You can just have regular eggs. You can put them with a whole bunch of dishes. You've got egg fried rice. I mean, the list goes on, right? Baking, there's all kinds of stuff, right? But they're going to crack down on your ability to have chickens and to have other types of birds, because they don't want you to be able to control your food supply, and they don't want you to be able to produce your own food. So that's what I think this is all about. This is another monkeypox, but this time they're going to go after the food supply. My funny story about this is, you guys, have you seen my Instagram at David Coleman YT? You guys have seen that I had a new flock of 10 baby chicks that I bought probably, a month and a half ago. And when I went to a Rural King, which is our farm supply store around here, and purchased these birds, they made me provide my driver's license. And then they put it in the computer and did a whole bunch of database stuff. So now my driver's license is in some kind of database saying that I purchased baby chicks. I think that they're building this database so that they can go around, and they're going to go around and inspect everyone who has birds in case there's one of these H5N1 avian flu outbreaks. And then they can control and monitor who has birds. Okay. That's my theory. That's my story behind all of this, and I'll keep you guys updated on that, of course. but this is going to be. I think they've been planning this. COVID is starting to slowly, wane away. People haven't believed that COVID's a thing for, years now at this point, right? They're finally going to be ending I think they are finally ending the mandates for pretty much everything, masks and vaccines, and the emergency declaration is going to be ending in May. I think that they're lining this up for the next public health crisis that they can shove in there to give more power to government officials and say, oh my God, if you are not conscious of the H5N1 avian flu virus, then you're a terrible person, or we're going to take all your birds away from you and kill them so you can't have birds, or we're going to take all these birds away from you so you can't have eggs, and then we're going to increase the price of eggs to fucking $20 a dozen or whatever. It's too convenient. There's no reason. I've been raising birds now for 20 years. I was a 10-year 4-H member. I started raising birds when I was like 6 or 7 years old. Okay. I'm now 27. I've been raising birds for 20 years of my life. I have never in my life ever had to register or give a driver's license. And the first time I bought birds from the same store, Rural King, I never had to give a driver's license for this. So, I don't know. I don't have any hard evidence of any of this, obviously. But this is being set up to look like the next monkeypox, the next COVID-19, the next public health crisis that people are going to go absolutely bonkers about for absolutely no reason. So that's my theory. We've gone 21 minutes now on some crazy conspiracy theories and some interesting faith stuff. So I'm going to try to wrap this up. Like I said, go follow my Instagram channel. I'm going to be doing some more chicken-related content. And I'll be traveling here soon, going to Indianapolis tomorrow for a friend's birthday, and I might be able to take some videos for that also. Besides that, go follow the Instagram, David Coleman YT. The Twitter is Colema, Colema 63 ETH. Very, very excited about that. I've been tweeting quite a bit on that, staying up with current events and the like. The Rumble channel is at David Coleman 27, and I post everything from YouTube onto Rumble. So if you just want to watch on Rumble and don't want to support the YouTube overlords, then go over to Rumble. And then on YouTube, obviously, it's David Coleman. So we're going to keep putting out the videos as long as you guys keep watching. Our viewer count keeps going up. Our subscribers keep going up. Slow and steady wins the race. And this has been a very, very interesting experience for me to kind of document my thoughts about all kinds of different subjects. And you guys seem to be really liking it. So we'll keep going. Anyway, thanks so much for watching episode number 14, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks.